I am Isaiah, and I saw the Lord high and lifted up, seated on a throne so glorious that the hem of his robe filled the temple with wonder. The place shook at the sound of holy voices, and I felt the weight of my own sin when I stood before perfect holiness. I was a man with unclean lips, living among people with unclean lips, and yet the Lord did not cast me away. He touched my guilt, took away my sin, and then he called me to speak for him to a stubborn nation that kept turning its heart toward idols, power, and pride. I brought a message that was heavy with judgment because the people had forgotten the God who formed them, carried them, and loved them. They trusted kings, armies, horses, and political plans, while the Holy One of Israel stood before them as their true help and safety. I warned them that empty worship meant nothing when their hands were full of injustice, cruelty, and selfishness. I pleaded with them to return, to learn goodness, to defend the weak, and to seek the Lord with honest hearts. Yet even in that warning, the mercy of God shone brightly, because he said that though their sins were like scarlet, they could become white as snow. Even after rebellion, the door to forgiveness still stood open. The Lord also gave me visions that reached far beyond my own days, and those visions carried hope so great that they still shine like morning light. I saw a child who would be called Emmanuel, which means God with us. And in that promise, I saw that God would not remain distant from human pain. I saw a son given, a ruler whose kingdom would rest on peace, justice, and righteousness without end. I spoke of a coming branch from the line of Jesse, a king filled with the Spirit of the Lord, who would judge with wisdom and faithfulness instead of corruption and pride. In his kingdom, peace would flow so deeply that even the images of nature became gentle, because all creation seemed to breathe with the knowledge of the Lord. But the clearest and most piercing vision I received was not only of glory. I saw the servant of the Lord, and his path was marked by sorrow, rejection, and suffering. He would not come with loud pride or earthly beauty that people admire. He would be despised, misunderstood, and cast aside, even though he carried the grief and pain of others. He would be led like a lamb to the slaughter, and he would not open his mouth in protest. He would be wounded for our transgressions and bruised for our iniquities, and the punishment that brought us peace would fall on him. By his wounds, healing would come. I saw that human sin was not ignored by God, but carried by one who would bear it in love. This is why my words stand between warning and comfort, between fire and promise, between the law that reveals sin and the grace that heals it. I spoke to a people living in fear, compromise, and rebellion, but I also spoke of the Messiah who would carry hope into the darkest places of the human heart. I wanted the people to know that judgment was real, because holiness is real. But I also wanted them to know that redemption was real, because the mercy of God is deeper than human failure. The Holy One of Israel is not like the idols people build with their own hands. He is the first and the last, the one who rules history, humbles nations, and still calls sinners to come home. So hear my message as both a warning and an invitation. Do not place your trust in princes, armies, wealth, or anything that fades like grass in the sun. Turn your eyes to the Lord, because human strength fails, but his word stands forever. Lift up your weary heart, because the God who sits above the nations also gathers lambs in his arms and gently leads those who are weak. The Holy One who fills the temple with glory is the same God who speaks peace to the broken, pardon to the guilty, and hope to those who wait for him.